with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Monday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. It's a rainy Monday morning. A lot of people have seen rain over the weekend, which is good. As everybody needed a shot of it and can use a little bit more today before maybe it starts to improve throughout the rest of the week. Coming up, speaking of this week, you know what this week is, Jared? What is the most major thing on the sporting calendar this week?
I think you tipped your hand when you said major.
That's correct. You saw what I did there.
PGA Championship.
PGA Championship is this week up at Rochester at Oak Hill. Do you remember who won the golf tournament in the PGA last time it was there?
Oh, no. I don't.
You and nobody else. Sean McKeel. Remember Sean McKeel?
No.
Yeah. Beat Chad Campbell on the last hole.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
shot in there to like a foot on number 18. Anyway, PGA coming up this week. I thought it was interesting that was this the first time on American soil that we had dueling live PGA Tour tournaments?
I think so.
I think on American soil, I'm thinking maybe so. So Live Golf Tulsa up at Cedar Ridge and the Byron Nelson. I can't wait to see. I mean, I think that the PGA Tour will outdraw, but I also believe that there was a lot more people at Live than what was expected. Okay, is that because Oklahoma is starving for golf, or has the Live maybe kind of cleared its path to be sustainable? We can talk about that. NHL playoffs getting down toward the conference finals. The East is set. The West is waiting on a Game 7, which is that tonight down in Dallas.
I believe so.
Between the Stars and the Kraken. Canada, once again, Canada's a failure. Do you have any idea the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
Goodness, no.
Been a while.
It's been a bit. Every time I think about it, Tampa Bay won like 3 in a row before Colorado took it last year. I can't remember who won it before that three-peat by Tampa Bay. It's been a while.
It's been a while. If you know, text us in 225-9698. It's a
Vancouver? No, they lost.
They lost, yeah.
I remember they rioted because they lost.
It's been a while back. It's a famous series just because of who was in it. The NBA playoffs are in the conference finals. We'll talk about the games over the weekend that got us there. Now that we're down to 4, a couple of things that are odd about that. One, you know what the significance of those 4 teams is?
No.
It's the exact same 4 bubble teams.
Oh, interesting.
So is there a little bit of validation for some of these teams from that bubble? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people thought, it's just the Heat made it because it was the bubble.
Right.
So now everybody's back in the conference finals. Who is your favorite? What finals would you like to see? We can talk about some different things throughout the NBA. And then right at the top, a spring sports wrap with everything over the weekend, good and bad, for some local teams across the sporting spectrum. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. You can log on to kadsam.com. You can download the app. The app's got everything we do, basically. 3 radio stations. It's got the Penny News, Big Elk TV, Paragon TV. And then, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast. You can find that if you miss a show everywhere podcasts are located. How are you today, Jared?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
What I thought was going to be a busy weekend turned out to be nothing, but that's okay.
Rain.
Had the day off Saturday because of rain, so I went and saw a movie.
What did you see?
The new Guardians of the Galaxy. Been trying to find time to watch it. And thought, hey, we'll take advantage of this. We're supposed to go play at a tournament. Of course, the rain. It was more rainy, I guess, in the city area. But I was amazed they got all that baseball in, actually. And of course, yesterday was Mother's Day, so did whatever Mom wanted to do, and she wanted to plant flowers. So between the rains yesterday, we got out there and planted some flowers. How was your weekend?
Shockingly, speaking of shocking, got something in. On Saturday, played the member guest golf tournament here at Elk City.
Yeah.
My buddy Wes came. Thanks to him for coming from Oklahoma City. I texted him Friday morning. I was like, man, or maybe even Thursday evening. I was like, dude, I don't feel good about you're just going to drive out here to have to drive back.
Because of the weather.
Because of the weather.
Right.
And then as it got closer, he's like, man, I don't mind. Let's try it. And so sure enough, it sprinkled a little bit here and there, a couple of different but really turned out to be a pretty nice day. All things considered and all possibilities considered, and that tournament went off well without a hitch and got in. So that was good times for sure. And then yesterday I didn't do anything. Just kind of hung out.
Yeah. Nothing for your wife, for your mom, nothing?
Cooked supper.
Okay.
Yeah, I cooked supper and just kind of did what they didn't appear to really want to do much.
It's their day if they don't want to do it.
And it was, it looked like it was going to rain all day long, and
we got some good showers
my
way.
I know. It seemed like it was just a little bit east of where I was
we got
anyway.
Some good showers. And it timed out at the most inopportune time. At one point I was coming home with groceries because, again, it was her day. So I said, I'll do whatever, I got up. I made her breakfast.
Oh, nice.
I woke her up with breakfast in bed. Cooked some breakfast on the old griddle. But came home with groceries, and right when I pulled up, started pouring. So I'm running back into my truck to get groceries in. But then when it stopped raining, it was kind of humid. But it was nice to get that rain. I liked it.
No doubt.
You know why else I liked it? It was not severe, and it was my night.
Yeah.
I kept an eye on that. Fortunately, it never went severe. Just a lot of rain. We need all that moisture we can get for sure.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's go back to Friday. Speaking of rain, kind of everything was state baseball tournament. Couple games finished on Thursday. Blanchard and Pryor made it to the fourth inning before the Storms hit up there in Edmond on Thursday. So then they came back. What looked like it was going to be a simple, just play 3 innings, Blanchard to move on. After being ahead 9-2 through 4, ended up an 8-inning, 14-13 slugfest that Blanchard did go ahead and win. But kind of just crazy there. Then Lone Grove pulled away from Cushing at the end, and that set up the semifinals. And, of course, the Elks and Tuttle, a rematch of last year's state semifinal in which Tuttle scored 4 in the bottom of the seventh to turn around a 5-2 deficit into a 6-5 win. On Friday, the Elks scored first in the second inning, and then that's kind of where everything fell apart there for just a small stretch of time. First 2 hitters for Tuttle in the bottom of the second got two quick outs, 0-2 on the freshman left fielder who was awesome all day long, both in the field and at the plate, Jackson Johnson. 0-2 on him. He hits what seems like kind of a harmless single out into left field, and he steals second. Next thing you know, another base hit, and then we're tied. And then Tuttle eventually took a 2-1 lead there in the second inning. But the third inning, I think, is where the wheels kind of came off during the inning. There was some madness going on in the stands between both sides, and that it was hard to not distract me, much less if I would have been out there playing. But there was emotion, and I don't think the Elks handled the emotion of that moment very well, and a couple of misplays on a bunt, which everybody knew that was going to be a challenge at some point. That Coach Draper and the Tuttle Tigers were going to challenge Cash or whoever the Elk City pitcher was to field his position on bunts, and a couple of times it just didn't work. Tuttle got a leadoff single in the third inning, just laid down a bunt, throw it into right field, a run scores, runner on third, and then it happened again a little bit later in that inning where it didn't make it into right field, but it was an errant enough throw to for Aiden not to stay on the base. And next thing you know, it was 5-1. And you're thinking, oh, man. Give credit to the Elks offensively with the aid of I think Tuttle was trying to get too cute on that pop-up to start the fourth inning after a leadoff walk, trying to get too cute to make a double play by dropping it on purpose, and it went awry. And next thing you know, the Elks has put 3 runs on the board and had the bases loaded and 2 out with a chance to take the lead. Couldn't do it, but still you're back within a run at 5-4. Neither team scored in the fifth. The Elks don't score in the sixth. And then Tuttle gets a couple of insurance runs after another inning that started out harmless, right? I mean, it looked like the Elks were going to get back into the dugout down 1, and then the ball hit to Trotter, takes a horrible bounce, hits him in the face. And next thing you know, a couple of hitters later, a good Brooks, the shortstop, just fought off a couple of really good 0-2 pitches and just kind of slapped one to the right side. And because there was a runner on second, the Trotter had to be there to keep, try to keep the runner from advancing, because Tuttle was super aggressive stealing bases. So you're trying to hold that runner as close as you possibly can, and the ball's just hit where you ain't. It's that simple. He tried to keep it on the infield by diving, couldn't, and then 7-4, the Elks got a runner on, but that was it. And Tuttle ends up knocking out the Elks again in the semifinals, 7-4. Just kind of give what your thoughts, your takeaways from that game.
Well, I'll stand firmly on this statement. I said it before the tournament started, and I believe it, and I think I was kind of validated by that with what happened on Saturday night with Tuttle winning the championship. I believe those were the 2 best teams playing in the tournament in 4A. Was between Elk City and Tuttle. Tuttle got the best of Elk City again, and hats off to them. Like, they play a brand of baseball that applies pressure on the opponent consistently and over again with the way they aggressively hit. I mean, they hit the ball really well, they bunt the ball really well, and they are aggressive on the base path. It's my favorite brand of baseball, to be quite honest with you. I love that. You did it last year and got all the way to the National Championship Series, and we saw it on Friday with Tuttle. So hats off to them. Hats off to Elk City. Just unfortunate that it comes to an end in the semifinals for a second year in a row. But like I said Friday after the broadcast, or towards the end, there was that, this is going to be a place Elk City is going to get used to, because the program is in good shape with the kids coming up. You're seeing it over there with your boy and that group right there, and a little older groups too, and with a great young coach in J Mac, with the strong support system with the boosters and the parents and the city and the school and the fans. It's all working. So Elk City will be back. Don't doubt it at all. But and they shouldn't. After it's all sunk in, they got to be happy with that season. That's a heck of a season. Over 30 wins, only 4 losses, all the way to the state semifinal. And again, in my eyes, my view is that was the 2 best teams playing on Friday afternoon. Yeah,
it's an interesting dynamic between those 3, with Blanchard being the other. The Elks beat them twice. Blanchard beat Tuttle in the regular season, and of course Tuttle beat Elk City, so kind of a round robin, or through there with those results. It's just one of those. They both sting for different reasons, right? Last year, I don't know how much. I mean, sure, it was the goal, but was it the expectation to be there, and then have that 3-run lead? You can taste the state final, and then it's kind of your heart's ripped out. This year, I think almost anybody wearing either one of those jerseys had a sense from the word go that on Friday, May the 11th or 12th, May the 12th, Elk City and Tuttle were going to play each other. You know what I mean? I think everyone had that sense that was the game that we were going to see again, and sure enough, we did. And it just felt like Tuttle has been there more often.
That's a big part of it.
And they just handled what was going on, and they handled the emotion of that situation a little bit better than the Elks did. Elk City's bats took a horrific time to go cold. Even in the first round against Oologah, you get walked 12 times, you need to score more than 6 runs. So maybe that was a little bit of the foreshadowing of what was to come, unfortunately, on Friday. I think I was going back and trying to think about the at-bats. I think the Elks, they only had 3 hits. 2 of those were infield singles from Cole. I think they only hit the ball out of the infield 5 times. and only one of those was a hit, Holder's hit to right field. Outside of that, the last out on the diving catch by Johnson to end the first inning with a couple of runners on. Hopper flew out to left field, then a couple to center field. Keys was one of those, and I couldn't remember who else, but it seemed like the center fielder made 2 catches. Thinking back on it, that's just not good enough.
No.
At the end of the day, the offense. But having said all of that, if you'd have told me that Elk City would score 4 going in, I would have felt pretty good with Cash out there and 4 runs. I would take that all day, every day, and see what happens. And unfortunately, on Friday, it just wasn't enough. So yeah, great season once again. Jay's got tons of guys. We said it on the broadcast. These last 2 years, these senior classes, they didn't get it done, but eventually Elk City's going to get it done. And I think you're going to look back, and the foundation comes from Drake and Mason and Corey and those guys last year. Then, of course, Kai and Aiden and everyone. We shouldn't have even said names because I'm forgetting. You know what I mean? I'm going to forget them.
Yeah,
but those 2 senior classes, Cooper Church, obviously, in the way that he threw the ball for the Elks, I think you're going to look back and go, okay, how did this work? How did this go? That's when it started. I mean, that was the foundation that was laid for the groups coming. And you're right. There's kids coming down the pike for a while. And so eventually it's going to happen. It just didn't on Friday.
Final thought before we move on. We got a lot to cover. But, we put our games on Facebook too, and what's cool and not cool about that is comments. Thanks for all the comments. We got nice comments throughout. I was looking back over the weekend. I saw one, though, that I got to defend from a Tuttle fan that said we were ripping. We talked bad about a kid, about their pitcher. We didn't say one thing bad about that kid. We did not say one thing bad about that kid. Not one.
No.
Not one thing. We maybe said that was a bad pitch or a little bit outside, but we don't do that here. We learned our lesson a few years ago. We don't do that. I will defend you and me down to the tooth and nail.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That did not, nothing like that was ever said. So get off your high horse, Tuttle fan. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, question on the text line. Is it normal in the bigger classes not to let your pitcher hit? I think that was just Cash had been struggling.
He had been.
He had been struggling
we
in the regional
that.
a little the day before, and I think with the way that game was, maybe it's like, okay, just have this on your plate. It's what I think the thought was, is that it just that it's just one less thing
that he has to think about. Yeah.
As he's up there.
And we talked about the depth on that team, So that's okay. I mean, you can.
Well, and
there's enough good hitters on that team that's okay to take that off his plate and let him just worry about what the one job he has to do.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it.
And he's a great. I mean, he's a good hitter, but he was a little down, and it's just that's a strategy there.
Yeah, and the guy. I mean, the Kai Keys is the one that DH'd. He led the team in hitting. I mean, through the year, he was like 440. And so that's the idea there. I think is twofold. I don't think that happens if Cash hadn't struggled a little bit at the plate throughout the regional and then even in that first game against Oologah. But since it was a little bit of it was. I mean, he definitely kind of hit one of those rough patches that everybody goes through, just right here at the end. And so I think that was definitely what the thought was there. Elsewhere. Up at the state tennis tournament. Well, another thing that they got in, it didn't look very good for a lot of this stuff. That they were going to get these things in, like you said, all 3 baseball games got finished. I noticed that
maybe a little later, but they got them in.
I noticed 2A and 3A got done about the time 4A was supposed to start, and then you could tell, okay, that's not happening because all of a sudden you're seeing, flooding in Edmond, and coming up through there, and I thought, well, when are they going to play? And then a little bit later, I'm seeing, Tuttle 1-3-2. I thought,
I watched a little bit.
I'll be darned.
I turned it on and watched a little bit.
So it was delayed a little bit, but not immensely. But then the state tennis tournament, that was another one that kind of had some delays and kind of stops and starts, but it does finish. Max Murray from Elk City, the number 2 singles, he ends up He lost his first match, dropped him in the consolation. Then he won his second match against a kid from Anadarko. So that meant he was one win away from having a chance to play for a medal, either 5th or 7th, depending on the result. But unfortunately, he fell in the match before he gets himself in that situation. Number 1 doubles team of Mason Mall and James Robinson played. They won their first match, then lost their second. They played for 5th. And lost in the 5th place match. They end up 3-2. They end up 6th in the state. And then the number 2 doubles team of Cy Van Sierbuth and Quinn Brewer, they actually were undefeated going into the state tournament. Won their first 2 matches that got them into the semifinals, and then unfortunately they lost their 3rd and their 4th match to end up 4th in the state. So congratulations to Gina, the coach, Gina Curtis, Shockey, and then all those kids. Another really good season of tennis for Elk City. Speaking of another good season, Clinton soccer is rolling. The Red Tornadoes, 3rd straight boys state championship, 2-1 this time in the final, as Coach Jefferson has the Red Tornadoes absolutely killing it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of that one too. That's pretty impressive. 3 in a row, and based on post-game comments he made, doesn't look like that's slowing down either. They got a lot of talent over there playing soccer. That's pretty cool, taking down Hilldale. They're up 2-0, and Hilldale put one in the net about 9 minutes left, and Clinton was able to defend it and hold on to the win. I mean, 3 in a row is anything is pretty dang dominant, and if they go and get a 4th one in a row, Clinton's turned into a football school.
Yeah, football.
They went from football
Welcome
to
back.
football.
Garrison Financial Friday right here on the Skinny on Sports.
They like
Appreciate Scott stopping
they're pretty
by
good.
as he does.
Hats off to Coach Jay over there.
Most every
job.
Friday, unless
Yeah,
he's
they
not
end up
tied
with
up.
one loss,
Scott at
16-1.
SoonerWealth.com is his email address.
Yeah, the one
124
loss. I don't
North
remember the
Main
record.
is
One loss.
his address.
He
can do the full financial planning.
Fell to a
he'll shop the open market to bring in the
sophomore,
best value
6-18.
on your life insurance.
Yeah,
16 and investments and much more.
Perfect in
that
the district,
we'll
obviously perfect in the
to talk
playoffs.
about as we move along throughout the show. Jared, yesterday,
again. So congratulations,
Class 4A baseball tournament
on the soccer
got
side
about
of things. On the boys' side, another state
65% complete, maybe. And
then
the Elks finished their game. Tuttle finished
small school
their
stuff
game.
is over, but golly, when you
was
think
up
back
9-2
just to
in the
as
fourth
far as the spring
when the
sports
storms rolled
season
in.
here.
So
over
that's
the last
created
couple of
a little
weeks,
bit of chaos
and the
as
amount
far
of
as the
success
schedule
that we've
goes,
seen
that we
from
will,
Western Oklahoma
tell you about
schools.
Here in just a second.
Clinton ends up winning, as I said, the boys soccer title.
Eerily
Shattuck
similar
was the
games for Tuttle
2A
and Fort
slow
Gibson
pitch
these last 2
champion
years.
with the win in the finals
in the
against
quarterfinals.
Canute.
Fort Gibson
Canute
raced
gets
out to a lead.
silver ball.
Tuttle wouldn't go
Leedy
away.
got a silver
and the
ball.
Tigers win again.
Hammond got a silver ball.
The Tuttle Tigers
in the slow
pitch
pitch stuff. Obviously, the big Elks in the baseball run that they had into the semifinals. Just and you think back throughout the year, the year as an whole,
that 3-0 lead.
the entire year. I can't. There's a
Tuttle
word there I can't
just
think of
never
right
went
quick.
away, and man, they
But
hit
anyway,
the ball hard.
man,
That's what
once
they did.
again,
They
with the schools that
ironically
are around
tied it
here,
with a
just another
suicide
great year
squeeze. And when they
on
did
the
it,
athletic side of
fans were like,
things
oh, there's that
for
again.
Western
Just
Oklahoma.
kinda, oh yeah, all right, we tied it.
I mean,
it wasn't. Whoa, look what just
do we
happened.
expect
They're
anything
so
less?
used to that
No.
small ball type of
we
baseball.
see a ton of success
fun
from
game
all levels
and
tons of sports
sets
all
up
over
a
this
big one
place.
today.
It's awesome
the
to live
Elks
out here and see all
yesterday
that success
a win
with those kids.
6-1
Awesome.
over
Multiple
Oologah in
state
the
tournaments,
quarterfinals.
multiple.
Oh, wait,
We
let's
must
sit
have
down
done
and write this out.
Yeah, so you end up with
Disastrous
what?
bottom of the first inning.
3 state championships.
Their starting pitcher
With
AJ
Hammond.
Streeter.
Mhm.
Was it AJ
And
and
then
then
those two in the
Asher?
It was
spring.
AJ
Shattuck.
Zadig. Yeah.
Was the other
AJ
I think I
Clinton.
flipped him when it started.
Shattuck when
Just
when
could not
softball
find the
in
strike
fall.
zone, man. Holder gets kind of a chop
I'm
hit.
sure we're about to
And the
find
next thing
out
you know,
from
5
text
straight walks.
without looking it
I
up.
can't remember.
And a
It
couple
seems
of
like so
roundouts.
long
I
ago.
can't
Woke up,
remember
Elk City,
either,
Elk
but
City scores 5 runs in the
I don't
first
doubt they
off
were
one
there.
hit.
And
You
a
know,
lot of
and
state
I think
tournament
that's something
appearances.
looking forward to today when
awesome.
we talk about it. That's going to
It's
have
awesome.
to be
It's
better.
an awesome,
Elk City
awesome
is
time
going
to
to
be
have
out
to
here
hit the
and
baseball
check out the success.
way more
No doubt.
effectively
And just like Elk
than
baseball,
what they
Clinton
did
soccer,
yesterday.
it's
There
not
you go,
going to
Will,
slow
on the text
down.
line. Have to hit better.
'Cause
Have is
from
in
stuff
all
we've
caps.
seen. I mean,
They're
we
going to have
personally
to
see it. We go up there
generate
and we
offense.
watch
Yeah,
it.
he said it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
you
on the
I don't
baseball
think I
side,
said
on the
it as
softball
many
side,
words on air yesterday. but
traveling
me
around
and
with
Hunter off air
basketball,
were
we
saying,
see it. We
man,
see the
I mean,
youth that's
it
coming
was
up
nice to get the win
in all
but
these
we
programs and
can't
all these
not hit the ball
great
like that
school systems
tomorrow,
out here.
and
So it's
and
not gonna
think
slow
we're gonna
down
have
anytime
success
soon, I
Just
can tell you
because
that.
we think we're getting Cash Mayfield on the mound.
You looking
I think
it
it's
up?
all but a certainty. So
See that?
Yeah, I don't
The
think
ball-
there's a question mark
No,
about
there's no
that today.
question.
Can't
there.
let it go.
But
I gotta
the
figure it out.
bats have to. It seemed like they were behind a lot of foul
I
balls
think they
to the
did,
right.
didn't they?
Um,
No?
I mean,
strikeouts from
They
certain
didn't make the
individuals
fall
that were uncharacteristic. They just have to see it
See,
better.
this
have
seems
to hit
weird.
it better.
Hang on, I got
You'd
the
like
wrong
to
thing
chalk that
clicked.
up to first game jitters in the state tournament.
I got the wrong
You see that
thing
sometimes. Fortunately, what happened in the first inning
Season scores.
was good enough, and they tacked the other one on in the fourth. And the defense was stellar. The defense outside of hits that just were outside the reach of, say, catch Gino over at short or something up the middle.
Right.
The defense was really, really good
you need some
yesterday.
immediate
So was
computers are not
Cooper
your
Church.
friend.
So that's all well and
I got
good,
myself
but
a
this
slow
is
one.
a
Okay.
different animal playing
Well,
Tuttle.
I mean, Canute made it.
If they can
Class
put back
A,
the ball,
you
you got to hope the Big Elks can too.
Shattuck got in
more
there,
efficiently
Class
than they
A.
did
They
yesterday.
get beat by
Well,
Sterling.
and something I just got sent to me too.
Probably.
Yeah, the defense was good except for one play.
It just doesn't have. It shows
And that was the
they
bunt
obviously won
coverage
the
where
regional.
nobody was
So
covering
Sterling
first.
over Shattuck.
Absolutely.
And with
Yeah.
with the propensity
Richard
we've seen from
Caddo
Tuttle
won
at
that one in
times
the
to
fall.
not
Yeah,
be
I
scared
think
to lay it down, I would.
Anyway,
I would
great,
be shocked.
another
if they
great
don't run it
year
a few times
for
early
Western
as
Oklahoma
well.
athletics. There's no
Just
doubt
to
about
check
it.
the bunt
Well,
coverage,
yeah.
just
Like
to
you
make
said,
sure
it's
the
not just
Cash
here,
can
it's
field
all
his
around.
position.
Sometimes
Don't
that
expect
is-
anything
Especially if
less.
they get to a point where they can't
And
hit it.
when
Yeah,
we roll back
exactly.
around
If
to
you
the
can't-
football
you can't
season
put
in
anything in play. Sometimes that's your
August,
I don't wanna say last resort,
and then of course
but a
basketball
resort
starts
is
a little
to-
bit after
just to
that.
lay down bunts.
Everyone
and
will
make
be
the defense work and make
kind
your
of
pitcher
thinking the
work
same
too,
thing.
to try
There's
to
going
cover
to
those
be
bunts. And maybe
teams that are
try to exhaust
that are
him a
poised
little
to
bit.
be there in fast pitch,
and
poised
they
to
do
be
it
there in
really
football,
well.
and
We
then
know that.
we'll roll through
We know
all the
Tuttle
way through
does
the
that really
basketball
well,
and
so
then
that
into
was
spring
a little
sports
lapse
again.
in the defense.
A year from now.
I will tip my cap to the defense.
It's crazy.
I think
It goes so
was down
fast.
when he was
Really does.
It seems like we were
turning
just
around, and
getting
I'm always
ready
focused
for
on
like
little kids all the way up, so they can-
district
Yeah,
football
defense
play.
for you. Don't be a
And now here we are. Everybody,
You got
graduation
guys
was
behind you
yesterday.
that
No
work
gym
for you.
today.
And that was very evident yesterday.
You know,
He's gonna be
that's
back
and
at
that's
some
the
point, I
beauty
think, on
of
his own
Cooper
show.
Church.
He'll tell you all about.
Is
I think
he's
he's had a
not
wild week.
overpowering, although
like
he
it.
throws it plenty good.
So,
But
texted
he
me
has
yesterday,
a
kinda give me
confidence
an update
about
of what
him
was going on.
that hey, I can
will let him tell
I'm
you
better
guys
than
about
you.
that. That's
I can
not our
pound the
place.
strike
Yeah.
zone, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have. I'm not gonna
he's
beat
fine.
me.
Everything's fine, I think. But,
You're gonna have to beat me.
Anyway,
And that was the difference
He's
in
gonna
the
have
game.
a wild story.
You
For
know,
everybody,
Cooper went out there
at 2:00,
threw-
whichever day he
pounded
gets
the
back. I
strike
think he's
zone.
planning on it to be in today.
Yeah, he gave up
I
a
just don't
few
know
hits,
100% if
but
that's
nothing was
gonna be the
just
case
ripped.
or
You know,
not.
it wasn't
Nothing-
like they were hitting it just way
No,
hard.
nothing
Say a prayer for
detrimental.
And at the end of the
or-
day, he didn't
as you
give
move on
any.
throughout your
He
day. All right,
didn't
Jared,
give up.
conference
He didn't give
finals are set in the
Uligal
NBA.
anything.
And when they were in a spot,
Denver and the Lakers out west, Boston
they
and
got
Philly
one
in
runner
the
caught
or
across
Boston and
the- I mean,
Miami in the
I left
East.
my notes in my bag,
After
but how
Boston
many
knocked out
players were
Philly
left on
yesterday
base, I can
in
probably
Game
look it up.
7,
There's a lot.
112-88.
There's every inning Uligal would get a runner on.
Incredible.
But every inning
Man,
they'd leave him on.
Incredible. Jason
That
Tatum.
seemed like
Yeah,
all
and
the
just
sixth inning
went
they had a
towards
runner
the
You know,
on.
Yeah.
when we left
And
here Friday
Again, that's
morning,
credit to the defense, making plays.
Philly's up
Keys was good
3-2
over there at
with a
second
home
yesterday.
game
He
6
shined. I mentioned
to try to
He made
finish
some
things
rangy
off,
plays, a couple that just went under his
and they
glove by
just couldn't do
millimeters,
it.
but He was there.
And now
I mean,
I think
just a
questions
half a step
abound in
late,
Philadelphia.
But still played very
I keep
well.
on
in
waiting
college,
to
over
kind
a
of
third,
refresh
that's probably
Twitter
the
to see if
play of the day.
Daryl Morey,
Catch the
Doc
line out and
Rivers,
knowing
both,
to go
neither
straight to
are going to
first.
be back. Lots of
for the double
speculation
play,
about
so,
James Harden and
Yeah, but today,
where
man,
he's
today
going
I
to be.
expect
Obviously, you build
low-scoring,
around Embiid.
awesome baseball. I mean,
But, man, Embiid-
baseball we like to see between two good teams.
Rematch of last year's
How much-
semifinals, in which the Elks held a
How much do
5-2
you-
lead.
how much
going into
kinda
the home
leeway
half
do
of
you
the final
give him
inning in the bottom of the seventh,
with the way he
and then
performed
that's when
or
all of a sudden
didn't
Tuttle
perform
just
as
came
the
alive,
league's
and he ended up
MVP?
scoring 4 runs.
How much leeway do you give him
Sacrifice-
because of that knee?
Suicide squeezed in the last run
A little.
to beat the Elks 6-5 and come back and
just
turn
a
that
little.
3-run deficit into a 1-run
Sometime-
win, which
you've seen so
they
many
went
times in the
on to
past, questions
the
of
title game
injury
and
of
lost,
a
to Blanchard by a
superstar,
single run that
and they
next
play
day.
through it,
And, you know, that was such a
and they're
weird
impactful.
day
And they are the reason
all around
teams
in that
move on.
semifinal. It doesn't appear to be the
so
same
I kind of
situation.
approach it
You
that
know,
way
we
too. But I mean,
got
but
there
still,
at
I mean,
11.
the severity of the injury,
And
we know.
you know, the game was delayed until what, like a 5 o'clock.
I mean, that's why I
start,
give him a little
think,
bit, because here's
with
the deal.
rain.
I mean, could
and
he
then having
be
to
trying to
find
play
a place
through a
to
really
go,
bad
and
injury
everybody
that we don't know about?
leaving Shawnee
could.
to go to Noble.
He
and,
averaged
you know,
33.1
Noble having
in
to
the
mow
regular
grass
season,
because
33
their
points a game,
season
a little
was
over.
over.
He was
before,
only at
you know, just kind of
23.7
redo the
in the
get
playoffs.
the field in shape, which they did a
That
phenomenal
difference
job.
of
but it was
9.4 points per
it,
game
It wasn't much of
from
a
regular
routine
season to playoff
as
is the
as
largest
hopefully what today's
for an
going to
MVP
be
in
up
the
there
league's
at Edmond
history.
Memorial at 3:30. Now, here's what happened with everything else yesterday. After
And
the
so,
Elks left,
he's
Blanchard
the only MVP
and Pryor
in the
got
history
to
of
play
the
into
NBA
the fourth inning.
to
Blanchard
never
is
play in a
ahead
conference
9-2
finals.
when that game was suspended due to the weather.
And then
So
you,
they will
you
get
look at
back
the guy
going
that
at 11
everybody
this
got tired
morning.
of voting for.
Then the final quarterfinal
Amongst other
game will
reasons.
be at 1 o'clock. That'll
That
be
doesn't
that
win
Lone
the
Grove
MVP
Cushing
this year.
game.
Nikola
that'll
Jokic and what
exhaust the
he's just
first round,
destroying these
and
players.
then
You know
that
what I
leads
mean?
into the semifinals.
It's
The
pretty
Elks and Tuttle at 3:30.
pretty interesting if you
The
take a
other
look, and
semifinal
I
will
think
be
the
at
only
6 o'clock.
the only
And then
reason why
tomorrow's
he's
stuff
not
is
going to
still
just get
as
ripped to
scheduled.
shreds is
It was
because of
interesting
that
when
knee,
I
and you just
kinda
don't
texted
know
Coach Hunt
how
last
healthy
night.
he was.
You know,
And I
you
think
could
that's
tell that they
fair.
were done playing. Obviously,
I think
Like
it's
it
to- I
would
think
not
it's totally
shock
fair.
me if we get an alert today
Kinda
that
what
he's going
happens
to go
because
into
some
the
sort of
original
arthroscopic
schedule.
surgery
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah,
and
it
the
wouldn't
11
shock me at
o'clock
all.
game today being a 2A,
Which probably is
semifinal.
advisable.
Well, guess what? They didn't
it right
finish
now,
it. You know,
clean
so
it up.
everybody.
Oh, sure.
They end up
Get
going to
taken
Seminole.
care of,
Seminole
but-
State. is
That way
where
you're as close to
they
ready
were
to go
moved
as soon
now
as you can be for next
with
season.
storms
I think it's going to be an
last night
interesting
going through there. Who
offseason
knows?
there in Philly.
Haven't seen
with
I guess I
Doc,
could pull the
Daryl
OSSA,
Morey, with Harden,
you know, but
and
that's
how they
that's why
decide to kind of
those
construct
games
that team
were
moving
able
forward.
to be kind
how
of
that'll
readjusted
go.
and be at Edmond Memorial.
Obviously, you're building around a 30-year-old Joel
yeah, still at
Embiid
Seminole State College
instead of
in the same
what,
kind of the same
35-year-old
exact
James
same
Harden.
situation
But Harden
as
proved,
Dale and Amber
at least on a every other game
resume their
basis
game in the fourth inning
in this series,
down at
especially
Seminole
that he's
State,
still got something
just
for you.
like the
Yep.
Just don't know if he's still a guy capable of. You know, there's a lot of rumors he wants to go back to Houston.
okay. So
I don't think he can
here's what I
be
think
the
has happened. I
first
think
go
they've
around
adjusted
Houston
times.
James Harden and
So
have
did
that
3A
usage
finish?
the way that he did back then, and his team still succeed the way that it did.
I'm going to say 3A
Quite
finished
frankly,
the quarterfinals.
A lot of
They
people
did.
believe if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they beat
At
that
Seminole.
Kevin Durant team.
That's where 3A was.
Okay,
first
so
year
3A
with the-
because I'm
with the
seeing this
Warriors
note on
instead
OSSAA
of losing the
that
last
the
two the way that they
3A
did.
championship
So,
game now will be
there's
moved to
a-
11 o'clock.
There's a lot going on, I
Saturday.
think, in
That's
Philly.
supposed to be 2A.
The Lakers,
but I think because of
man,
what
you called
2A
it.
has to do
Got to
today,
give it up to you.
then they're going to
Had
give
them in
them
the
a
conference
little
finals
bit extra
against
time.
Phoenix.
and
Is
they'll
what
play
I
the
think
the
where you were
sandwich
leaning.
game
That's not going to
on
happen. But
Saturday.
how about this?
So to go 3A,
Lakers
2A,
started out 2-10
4A instead of 2A.
They were 8 games
3A,
below
4A, see what I'm
500.
saying? On the times on Saturday.
They're only the
So,
fourth
to be
team in the
clear,
last 50
4A
years.
time is not
4A
changed
time
for
is a
to do
Saturday,
8 games
Yeah,
under
no.
500 at some point in the
barring
season,
There's no rain.
and yet
but
make a conference
Yeah,
finals.
2 o'clock. So
But I almost think it's unfair to look
4A
that
will
far
still be
back.
at 5. They just flipped 2 and 3
because we
3A
all know when
got
this
done
team
with the 4
changed,
games
and this team
yesterday.
changed
2A
at the
didn't.
trade deadline
They're
when
gonna
they
have to have
essentially
teams
just
playing a
shuffled
couple
the deck,
games today.
reshuffled the deck, and
with the
now
results. So
they have a
that's
team that makes a
interesting. I
lot
didn't see
more
that,
sense
last night.
with what's
As far as
around
the Elks go, 3:30
Anthony
today.
Davis and
They're
LeBron,
able to
and
win and get into
both
the
of us
championship game. That'll be a 5
hit the
o'clock
nail on the
start.
head going into that game
Scheduled
6.
time at Bricktown.
Both of us said LeBron would dominate,
tomorrow.
and LeBron dominated.
Anything else
just-
from the
he was
baseball
just
stuff?
What you expect to see, and that's
got it
but
covered.
see.
Big
With
Elk
the guys
TV,
around him playing as
3:30.
well as they are,
ish.
Yeah.
it affords him the
here's deal.
luxury of kind of almost
We'll try to
load
get it on the website.
management
We
during
were
the
able to do that
games, during the
yesterday. We kinda
series,
have that
to where they
tag
don't need
until
that
we
LeBron
knew
James every single night to win. Because
official
here's the
game
deal:
time.
I don't think he can still do it.
And the problem
At his
is
age.
trying to get that information out.
But if you just want him to do
is
it once
the way
or twice,
that goes is
yeah,
When you need
That
that,
get her
when
done.
you
game
need
has
that
to
spurts
finish
of greatness he'll
before
give it
the
to you.
coaches
Now, you
from
like
the
him or
second
not,
game even they kind of get together and
take
decide
that out
how
of
much
it
time they
and
want.
everything he stands for, and
So that's
he's a
why there's not
pathetic liar.
always, I
but
mean, that's why
he's still
it's
a pretty good
impossible.
basketball
What
player
I'm trying to say
in
is
those
it's
spurts,
impossible to have a
and that's why I
projected
liked
start
him
to game
after
2
that trade deadline
until
I
game
still
1
like
is
him.
over.
I think they got a great shot.
But we'll keep you
against
updated
Denver.
as best we
And that-
can.
I think that
the
series
best
will
place
go
to
full
go
length, if you
is
ask
going to
me.
be
We
the
got
Skinny
plenty of
on
time to
Sport,
break
or
that
the I'm
down
sorry,
later,
the
but,
Big Elk TV Facebook page.
But they've done something
Big Elk
right.
TV
and
Facebook
if
page
you got a
because
team,
we are
LeBron
going to be
James and a
there
healthy Anthony
and be
Davis,
able to post
they
to
are
that
really, really
in
good.
real time, right?
Really
and then we can relay
Isn't
that
it crazy that
information back
LeBron
here,
has trust
and,
in a
and
guy
the
named
site will
Austin
change. The
Reeves?
Big Elk
I
TV
know, man,
website will
it's-
change with the way the information
it's just
goes.
wild what they've
But
done,
the
and even
quickest way
during
and the
that
most
series,
reliable way,
Darvin
quite
Ham
honestly, is
what
what we're
how much
posting
credit
on
does
Big
he
Elk
deserve?
TV as the game in front is
Because
finished.
you look up and he's got
and then what the
he makes a
information we
switch to
configure.
And the
Schroeder
thing we can assure you is
into
if
the
you
starting
go to Big
lineup,
Elk
and all
TV,
Schroeder's there is
you
just to
click
pester
play, and
Steph Curry,
nothing's
and it
happening.
works.
It's not.
It's
yeah.
just
we
nothing's
saw him
happening.
here,
The game's not on,
and a lot of people
when the
when
game gets going,
when he came here
well, not when the game gets going. We'll get checked
had
in
an
the game and
idea of what he
everything.
was,
So that's your
and I think learned
reassurance
that
is okay, it's not on.
he's a
You're
lot
not
more of a
missing
pet. He's
anything.
no
And
great
another way to
defender.
check
I'm not
that
trying to
jump
say
on
that.
Our Facebook page, 'cause
But
we
he
also
tries and
duel
he's
that to
pesky
our
about
Facebook
it.
page.
And he's
So if
bothersome.
there's no video
And
live
Steph,
video on
11
our
of
Facebook
28,
page,
4
we
of
are
14
not
from
on the air
3.
because
Yeah, he had
there's no
32,
game.
but
We'll try to keep you
if it
updated
takes
as
him
best we
28
can.
shots to score
And if you
32
don't
points, you
respond
take
via
that all day
text
long and run.
directly,
And then, of course,
because we're
Game
probably
6
setting up,
Clay.
we're getting lineups and we're getting
Wasn't
ready
it?
to.
But that's how
Thunder
you'll be able to
fans,
check.
how much fun would it have been to see
yesterday.
Game 6 Clay go 3 of
I can tell you one
19 in
thing. That's 'cause
2016?
there's a lot of people that are interested.
I
That'd have been
know.
a
I
40-point
completely
win.
understand.
and celebrating
I
all
just
the way
figured
to
everybody was at the
a
game
finals
or some
appearance
big
against
Elks game
Cleveland.
yesterday.
It didn't happen that night. It did
But
the
that'll
other
be
night.
the
He was
best way.
terrible.
The skinny
And
the
I think
thing,
eventually
the Big Elk
you're
TV
starting to see
Facebook page,
the cracks
Big Elk
in
TV
the
Facebook
Warriors
page.
dynasty.
Posted
Well,
that.
that's,
I share
that's
it.
the next
you know,
question.
if
What's
you're
going to
just
become
a-
of the
a
Golden
friends with
State
me,
Warriors
and
now?
not Big Elk
A
TV.
lot of
Shame
talk
on you
of Green
first,
moving
but
on,
second
possibly
off,
to
no, I'm
these
serious.
Lakers.
I'll share those.
What
After the
happened?
game-
Is
more
it?
people,
Is the
and,
dynasty
you
done?
know,
After the
by
game,
time a
he
few
was
people shares it,
adamant
the whole town knows
that he wanted to ride with
you know
these
what I'm
guys.
saying? Courtesy of the Facebook.
You know,
So,
you see the
but
big
that's
hug
how
between
we'll
him and
do it.
Draymond.
You know,
but
given 2 hours for
we all know Curry's
3
been
innings,
great.
that seems like enough, but you just
for all
never
these
know,
all
right?
these years.
With
but
that first
the truth
game.
of it is, the
But I
sporting
would
cast was able to give him
Cushing,
something.
Lovegrove
You look at
having a pretty
you look
good
at
chance to start
no
on
other
time.
starter
at 1
was in
o'clock.
double figures.
And then you got
Only
see
Dante
from there.
DiVincenzo off the
You just
bench
don't
was in
know
double
after that.
figures
But,
on
somewhere
Friday night.
Scheduled time's
in that
3:30.
Game 6 loss, and he only scored 101 points.
Check,
and then
we'll
defensively, I
keep
think
you
is where you
updated
see a huge
as
step
best
back
we can
from this
as the
Warriors
information
team.
becomes available.
Draymond
At
getting a
that
little
start
older,
time.
Clay getting
It's gonna
older.
be a little bit
Wiggins
later,
not
so
back in the flow yet,
that's
even though he
that.
played.
Man, what a fun
he
day
didn't
it's
get
gonna
back
be.
until the playoffs started, so he's
A
not
fun day.
the guy. And I think that's why you see like
Very
a guy like
exciting.
Peyton
I think
in the starting
I know
lineup
at least
because
on
they're
one
trying to
side of
figure
this
out a way
matchup,
that they could cover the Lakers, and they just couldn't.
there's a whole bunch of
LeBron
people
is
that
like
waited
that.
364
Everybody feeds off of him. You mentioned
days
Reeves 7 to 12
to
4
get
5
another
3
shot at
23
this game. So
in a closeout game.
it ought to be a blast.
You know, and they
We'll
just
be
got
Hello, my name is
you know,
Scott
they
Garrison.
got
You may
things from
remember me
D'Angelo
as
Russell.
Scott the Barber or just as Ron and
They
Carlos'
got
son.
that
I've been
Lonnie
involved
Walker
in our
game.
community since
You know,
opening
where that
Scott's
guy just
Barbershop
goes crazy
on
in the
the southeast
fourth quarter.
corner of 3rd and Main in
And
1998.
it all
Now I'm back
stems
in the
back
same
to
building as Garrison Financial.
making
I started
those trades
investing in
and
my
reshuffling
20s.
the
I
deck.
invested through the
Now the
dot-com
Lakers-
crash and the Great
who do you
Recession.
make the
I started
final-
caring
who-
for
who's
other
the
people's
favorite?
money
Who
in
do you think is the favorite
2018,
right now
and
of
I
these
truly
four?
enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what
think
keeps
I
them
told
up
you. I
at
think
night. Whether
I
my
think the
friends
Lakers-
just want me to invest a little of their
Although
savings
Boston
or want me
intrigues
to
me. They
work with
play-
their tax and
Tatum
legal
keeps going
professionals
off
to
like
strive
that.
towards optimal efficiency,
That's,
we can do
dang
it
near
all. I
unbeatable,
believe communication
even
is
with the
key to
Lakers.
helping
So,
my clients reach their
I just
goals.
got-
For if we
listen,
are
I'm gonna ride
faithful
this.
over a
I
few
think
things,
I
we
like
shall
the
be given
Lakers
more.
to
Contact
get
me
out of
at
this
scott at
conference finals and
soonerwealth.com.
take it all
Securities
in
offered
the
through registered
finals.
representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member of FINRA
This
and
feels
SIPC.
like that. It feels
Advisory
like- and it
services
feels
offered through
like
Cambridge Investment Research
because
Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
everything
Garrison
we
Financial
said
and Cambridge are not
about LeBron,
affiliated.
I
This
think
communication is
he's
strictly
motivated
intended for
because
individuals
this
residing in the
might be
states of
my
Colorado,
last
Nevada,
shot to win
Oklahoma,
the
and Texas.
title.
No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific
they're doing
states
it right.
referenced.
I mean,
Cambridge
they're
does
doing
not
it the
offer
right
tax
way,
and legal
which is odd
advice.
to say about the Lakers.
The Skinny on Sports.
Also, when we mentioned the bubble thing, and I said this before, I'll say it again. It wasn't too long. That bubble was not too long ago when the Lakers won it, and now they're kind of saying, "Hey, it wasn't long ago. We're still the key pieces are here, LeBron and AD, and it is all contention on AD's health."
Oh yeah, and I can't
You
wait
know-
to see that matchup. As far as just matchups
Oh
of
yeah,
any of these,
yeah.
the Joker versus Anthony Davis should be phenomenal. I mean, Jokic. I don't disagree with you.
Well, who do you think? What do you like? Who do you like?
I think it's Boston. I think Boston's
Yeah.
the best team. I think Boston's the best. I think they're built the best.
Listen, I'm a little
I
on
think they
the
have the
fence
best
about
roster.
it, but yeah, I'm leaning a little bit Lakers. But I mean, how?
But-
Come on, don't we want an LA
That's what
Boston
that's
series?
the next question.
Don't we want that?
That's the next question. If you could choose the series, what would you choose?
Absolutely, that one.
Oh, not me.
No,
No.
Okay.
No. I would take.
just for the X's and O's of it. But I mean, for me, it's for the history of it.
Yeah,
But go
Lakers
ahead.
Celtics. I mean, there's something about Lakers Celtics that
Yeah.
just gets you fired up. But no, I'd rather see Denver. I'd love to see Denver and Boston in that
Mm-hmm.
because as much as we can praise LeBron about what he did, and he was phenomenal on Friday and has been and will be, I don't want to see him in there. I just don't. Sorry.
Well, I get it.
Give me Jokic.
I totally get it.
Give me the least athletic great player of all time, Jokic. Him and Larry Bird fighting for that, and maybe Dirk fighting for that award of non-athletic greats. And once again, I think both of us are kind of looking past Denver.
Yeah.
Just because it's the Lakers and because it's LeBron and AD. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to agree with Sam. Want the Nuggets to sweep the Lakers, but that's going to be easier said than done. No doubt about it.
Let's just be very clear. Let me get this on record. I am not a Lakers fan.
Oh, I know. There's a little bit, but here's the problem, Jared. When you pick them to do good, then you kind of got to jump on their
But
bandwagon.
I'm not sitting
as
at
bad as it
home
makes you
on
feel.
the edge of my seat wearing a Lakers jersey.
Do you have a
going
Reeves
nuts.
jersey yet? Have you got that in the mail?
No, I do not, and I will not. But just take the names of the teams aside, I just like what I see. in the Lakers.
Yeah, it's hard not to. NHL, Canada comes up short. We did have the right answer. I said, when is the last time a Canadian team had won the Stanley Cup? Scott got it. 1993, Montreal Canadiens. You know
93.
1993. It's been 30 years
Good night.
since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. You know who they beat in that finals? This is why I know this. That's because of who they beat.
Edmonton?
Nope. Same guy, different team.
Kings.
L.A. Kings. That is correct. With Wayne Gretzky going at it against Patrick Waugh.
Oh, yeah.
Or Roy. So I always thought it was Roy. But yeah, that's a rough look for Canada. It's supposed to be your sport, man. That'd be like if Toronto, or back when they had Vancouver, was winning the NBA title every year, and America couldn't win. You know, or if the Blue Jays were winning baseball every year, and America couldn't win the World Series for 30 years. Come on, Canada, do better.
You're not wrong.
Do better. Game 7 tonight. Once again, I will implore everybody out there listening, watch it. There's nothing better than Game 7 playoff hockey, and if it happens to go into overtime, there's nothing better, maybe in the outside of sports even.
You can't take your eyes off of it because you never know. It's such a fast sport, and you never know when that goal could come.
And this has been, listen, I'm sure there's a stat out there that would tell you it's not, but at least to me, gosh, doesn't this feel like it's been the highest scoring playoffs in recent memory?
Yeah.
I mean, before it was, in this situation, it's like, oh, yeah, you get one or two. You get 2 goals, you're golden. You're winning.
Yeah.
Now it's 4 or 5 are required. Last night, Edmonton up 2-1, and then next thing you know.
At home.
Yeah, at home.
I thought, yeah. And then you're right. Next thing you know.
It's 5-2.
Yeah.
And the Golden Knights have gone crazy. Yes, hockey is their national sport. That's why we're making fun of them.
Oh, I thought it was curling.
Do better. It probably is now because they might be able to win it. It's weird how that opens. But tonight, Seattle, the Kraken. This is the first year of the Kraken, right?
Second.
This is the second year of the Kraken. Okay. That's why, because I was desperately looking up, trying to find, expansion team stats. Is this the greatest run for an expansion team ever?
Well, I mean, didn't the Golden Knights do it in their first year?
They did.
Got all the way to the finals.
I think that's right.
How about Nashville? No, Nashville's been there a bit. But, no, yeah.
Yeah, the Golden Knights.
Golden Knights
but I couldn't find anything, and I thought, you know
ago.
what? That's probably because this isn't their first year.
No, it's the second
Sure
year.
enough, it's the second year. So the Stars, I've always kind of liked the Stars just because they're closest team.
Yeah.
In Dallas, Mike Modano. Liked Mike Modano. You don't like the Stars? Are you going for the Kraken?
Well, I was rooting for Edmonton, but now they're
Yeah.
out, so I don't. I'm just a fan.
The Kraken is a cool name, and they've got cool colors. That I like what they got going on. Hope they lose, but I like what they got going on. Should be a fun one down in Dallas tonight.
Yeah, it should.
Do better, Canada. 30 years. Nice.
Man. I mean, what are they going to do now? They don't.
I mean, that's almost like OU in football.
Kinda.
I'm getting there.
Kinda.
Not in softball, though.
Oh my goodness, no.
Big week ahead, Jared, in my favorite sport.
Yeah.
On the golf. PGA Championship.
I got to ask, did you watch any of the Live?
I did watch it.
It was on the CW.
It was on the CW. Here, for Live, man, trying to watch it. Obviously, it got delayed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming down the stretch. 3 holes left for everybody. Of course, it's shotgun start.
Right.
So everybody's playing at the same time.
Feels like the people's tournament when they do it like that, because our tournament we play in, that's all you get.
Yeah.
They send you out to a hole and shotgun start.
And so, thinking this is good stuff. Cam Smith and Dustin Johnson and Harold Varner's trying to shoot 59, and all of a sudden I kind of flipped it back during a commercial, and what did I see? Steve Harvey.
Family Feud.
I'm like, what is going on with the Steve Harvey here?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit disconcerting.
Right.
That Family Feud came on. instead of the finish to the Live Golf. Part of the reason was because it was in Tulsa on that golf course, which I've never been to. I've always heard it's extremely difficult, but apparently not for those guys.
Well,
they just tore it apart,
right?
But I find myself and I almost feel bad because for the most part I'm really a golf purist, but there's a couple of things that I'll kind of let myself enjoy, I guess. One of them is Phoenix and the hoopla around number 16 because it's one hole on one event. It is what it is, and you're not.
That celebrates golf, in my opinion.
Well, in Pandora's box has been open. You're not gonna put the genie back in the bottle at Phoenix.
Right.
It's out. It happens once a year. Move on down life's path. But then yesterday, and even watching a little bit on Saturday after we got done, it was. Man, it's a totally different. It's a totally different experience. It's not Phoenix, but it's like what we all do.
Exactly.
You got the music playing. Guess what? So do we.
Yeah, we always have music in the golf cart.
Yes, and so it's more of kind of. It's really weird.
So I'll call it the people's tournament.
They have kind of gotten themselves there somehow. Have gotten themselves around to kind of the people's tour instead of the elite stuffy PGA, and it's working.
I heard it drew a big crowd,
huge crowds. Hearing
rumors, heard on the radio yesterday, I believe that was, that there's talk of it coming to Oklahoma City. They like where help me with the golf course name.
Cedar Ridge.
They like it there, but they're building a new clubhouse. So that Liv's thinking, okay, while they build the clubhouse, we'll come to OKC. I wonder where, though.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Edmond area, but I don't know. Would they allow them on there?
I don't know. That's the whole thing.
But that is cool. I mean, I guess there was a warm reception with the crowd showing up despite even the weather. It didn't stop the crowds from showing up. We saw some local guys go. Got a picture of our man Jimmy and
Justin just sent me another one.
And so I don't know. I mean, at first I was like, what is this thing? Should I care about Live Golf? But now I'm kind of coming around because, like I said, this feels like the everyday scramble tournament, whatever.
Well, and
that it's the people's tournament. It relates to us casual golfers more.
Well, and here's the truth. Would you rather have, when you look at what happened yesterday, and this is no offense to any of these guys. I mean, Austin Eckroat's an OSU guy, grew up in Edmond. Siwoo Kim, really good player. Is he moving the needle for anybody? I mean, even Jason Day. I mean, I personally really like Jason Day. And I think it's really cool to see him get back there. Scheffler was the hometown guy down there in Dallas. But, man, if you start to compare who was going at it for those two titles at the exact same time, Austin Eckroat, Siwoo Kim, C.T. Pan, Marty Doe, and then you got Hatton and Day and Scheffler and Adam Scott. What is this, 2010? Or Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson. One of those isn't like the other.
Yeah.
In my mind. And one of those is a lot more intriguing to watch, in my mind. And I know some people aren't this, of the golf purist. I am. I think it's ridiculous they can't wear shorts. So then I can flip it over and watch them play in short. Come on now. It was, for the first time, and I almost found myself going, oh, no. I'm afraid I like Live Golf. I like this. This is good.
So you like it. Is it coexisting? It feels like it is.
Yeah.
Because with what's about to happen this week, all that attention is going to go to the PGA Championship. But the names are a draw. Are you watching the Byron Nelson, or are you watching these guys that you mentioned?
Well,
I think it's coexisting. That's
I think
what I'm
it is
trying to say.
100%. And I think it's for the first time since it all kind of came into be, I actually think it's making some traction here in the U.S. It was it was well received down in Australia for those couple, and then to Singapore. But now you get some love and from right here in Oklahoma on American soil, and that's what it's going to take. And I think being able to have the national golf media talk about this in a truthful way will help as well. Because the truth is, the field at Live Golf was better than the field at the Byron Nelson. And the truth is, the PGA Tour, in its race to try to keep up with Live from a money standpoint and a purse standpoint with these designated events, at least in the early returns, it looks like they've crushed the others. The Byron Nelson being kind of knocked down to a C-list event is heartbreaking for a lot of old-time PGA Tour fans, because it's Byron Nelson's tournament. It's the big party in Dallas. And then for it to fall where it does on the schedule a week before a major, not a designated event, and I think you started to see some rumblings that AT&T was the AT&T Byron Nelson. You're starting to see some rumblings that some of these advertisers, some of these sponsors are kind of upset with this designated versus non-designated event status, and the status is so much lower than what it was just in its normal spot on the schedule. So I think the PGA Tour, they may have ready, fire, aim just a little bit much here, and without realizing what the consequences were for everybody, catered to a few. Mm-hmm. And we'll see where that ends up from the money and how that's going to work.
Well, I know a lot of guys that would go down there to Dallas for that tournament to watch. And I don't know if they went to Tulsa, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who in Oklahoma, and this is why I like it, because we're Okies and we like it. They didn't go down south of the Red River. They probably went to Tulsa.
Well, I saw a stat on Saturday or Sunday as far as the Live Tulsa event. 18% of the ticket sales came from DFW area. That's a major number.
That is.
Especially with the Byron there that week. That's a huge number.
That is, yeah.
And so, very interesting with Live. Got some requests. What about Ja Morant?
Man, I know we're out of time, but we could really break that down. I have an opinion. I have a question about it, but he just doesn't get it, does he? Employers, listen. We don't have the time. We don't have time.
Well, there's a lot of things going here.
He just got reprimanded for all this stuff. He took time away from the game for all this. And to do it again, outside of what he did, just knowing that you can get in trouble by your employer for whatever reason, and for that reason it was for holding the gun on what is it, Instagram Live or whatever. He knew that he wasn't supposed to be doing that, and still does it. Still skirts the rules, and that could, in a real world, it will get you fired if your boss tells you not to do something and you continue to do it. You what is wrong with you? Don't do it. So he's in a world of hurt, and I'm interested to see what comes from this, from the commissioner and from Memphis, and what they do with him. It's going to be interesting. You talked about interesting off seasons. Now Memphis has some decisions to make.
There is no doubt about that. You're looking. You're right about the employer part of it, because you see a lot of people go, "Well, does he not have Second Amendment rights?"
And I get that.
Sure,
that's the opinion I have. I totally. Obviously, we support that, but if you don't have to agree with what your employers ask you to do, right? I've worked at a place I didn't agree with the dress code, but I wore the slacks to work every day because my employer told me to. And if my employer says, don't wave a gun on live TV, whatever, I'm probably not going to do that.
It's already cost him $39 million because of the suspension, got him away from being able to be on one of those All-NBA teams this year, which then triggered the Supermax. $39 million. 39 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 million. And so it's already costing him money, and that's not making any difference. Obviously, the charade of him going to counseling wasn't. I mean, it was just that, a charade. And I agree that there are different layers to this. Yes, he is allowed to own a gun in the United States of America because of the Second Amendment. Everyone, well, not everyone agrees. I mean, but we certainly agree with that. He is. But that right doesn't necessarily supersede his commitment to what his team is asking him to do. And that's where he's going to get in trouble.
And I can also tell you, as a gun owner, like many of us are in Western Oklahoma, him waving around a gun is stupid.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, I think everyone associated with the Grizzlies and going to be making this decision on what kind of to do to him is trying to keep something bad from happening. Mm-hmm. Is in almost trying to supersede for him where he's not able to do it for himself, if that makes sense. And so, I mean, you're already seeing former players, the whole year, calling for the Grizzlies to suspend him for the entire season next season. I have a hard time believing that's really going to happen, but.
Well, it might not be the Memphis Grizzlies that bring that down.
Yeah, it'd get a little bit more.
Might come from the very top.
It would get a little more sticky there, though, I'm afraid. From a legal standpoint, if it's the league. I think this is more of a now, I'm not telling you that Adam Silver isn't going to be talking to the Memphis Grizzlies about what to do. I get it.
Well, I wonder,
but I think when you look at officially what happens, I think this is going to come from the Grizzlies with the support of the league behind them. But I'm afraid if the league itself gets involved, then I think you've got some of those questions that pop up from that standpoint versus just having your employer do it. Mm-hmm.
And final thought on this, I wonder after the first time it happened, if they said, if you do it again, this will happen to you.
Yeah, and
if there's somewhere, you talk about legalese there, I wonder if there's somewhere like, okay, sign this right here, Jaw. If you do it again, you're conceding that you can get suspended for a year or docked or whatever.
And that could be the case. I mean, he just was suspended earlier just not very long ago for this exact same thing by the team. And you may be right. All this speculation, that may have already been decided in a document that's been signed when all that happened the first time. But it's just, sometimes you got to figure out a way to get yourself out of those situations. And it's hard because, you're hanging out with your boys that you've always hung out with, and you don't want to, be that guy that changes, right? Remember where you come from and all that kind of stuff. But
he
but
came
eventually,
from a good home. This is crazy. He came
but with
from
your guys,
a private school, and
but not with your guys,
right?
You're still, you see it. You see it a lot the other way around, right? Where somebody makes it big, and all of a sudden, all these guys out of the woodwork that you don't know. Mm-hmm. This is ones that he does.
Yep.
That's really kind of steering him down the wrong path.
Yep.
And I would anticipate not seeing John Morant for a while.
Right.
Going into next season. What that will be, I don't know.
Yep.
But I think you're going to see it for a while.
Hey, happy Bautista got hit in the face day.
Yeah.
That was 7 years ago today. Just popped up on my Twitter. One of the best days in Rangers history. That Nolan Ryan just putting Ventura in a headlock.
Odor got it after it.
Odor got him right square in the jaw. I'm watching a repeat of the video.
All right, everybody, have a great Monday. We'll be back tomorrow right here on the Skinny on Sports.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered around.